Hi, welcome to Valley Prep Tutoring. Have you ever wondered what Middle Eastern food could do for you to ace the SAT math section? Well, you're going to find out today. Today we're going to be doing a training on plugging in the answers, also known as PITA. PITA is an amazing strategy that you can use when you get a really difficult algebra problem on the SAT to just quickly jump through it and immediately start putting down answers, even when you're completely confused about what to do. It's a great first step. It helps you know that you have the right answer the first time, and it also takes a bunch of time off of the work that you have to be doing. Anytime you're on the SAT math section and you have an algebra problem, a word problem like this that has both numbers and variables, but answer choices that are just numbers, there's actually a really great secret you can use if you know how the SAT formulates their numbers to get in there, answer it really quickly, probably quicker than anybody else sitting down at the test. On the SAT, anytime there's answers that are put out, it always goes in ascending order from lowest to greatest, as shown here from 36 to 108. What this does for you is it allows you to start in an intelligent place, not just to start anywhere and start plugging in numbers. While everybody else is sitting there trying to figure out the right algebraic equation, what you're going to do is you're going to plug in the answers first. That's going to ensure that your answer choice is right, that you're not making careless mistakes along the way with your algebra problems, and it's also going to help you get started immediately instead of being confused about exactly what's the right variables I can use. All you have to do, step one, go straight to choice C. You see right here, of the three, I put down little pita breads next to each answer choice as shown from the acronym, plugging in the answers, PITA. And to help you remember even more, I made choice C a little bigger. And you can also remember that pita bread is a delicious food enjoyed in the Middle East, and we're going to start in the middle of our answer choices here in choice C. So step one is anytime you get a word problem that has answer choices with real numbers that we can plug in to solve an algebraic equation, we go straight to choice C. The thing we're going to do with choice C is plug it in and see if it works. If it works and it fits and it makes all of the statements in the word problem correct, then we're good to go. But if it doesn't work, and the answer, for instance, is way too high, then we realize that not only is C incorrect, but here's the really cool part too about starting with C. We know that D and E are also incorrect because those are even higher than C. So immediately by starting with C, we're already narrowing down our possible answer choices from 5 down to 2. So we're going to take a look at the word problem here and see how it actually plays out. The word problem we have says, a duck travels from point A to point B. If the duck flies 3/4 of the way, walks 1/9 of the way, and swims the remaining 10 kilometers of her trip, what is the total distance in kilometers traveled? Is it 36, 56, 45, 72, or 108? Alright, so now we're going to take the problem we're just looking at and apply the PITA method by starting with answer choice C. So, if the duck flies 3/4 of the way, we're going to assume, rather than even doing algebra, we're going to jump right in and assume 56 might be the right answer and see if it's true. So they say 3/4 of the way, and we're saying if the answer choice is 56, then 3/4 of the way of 56, we need to calculate what that is. So we're going to do 3/4 of 56, which is basically saying 3/4 times 56, or 3/4 times 56. And that equals 42. That means that the duck would have flown 42 kilometers, assuming that choice C is correct. Next, they said that the duck walked 1/9. So again, we're assuming that the total correct distance is 56. So 1/9 times 56 equals roughly 6.22, and we're going to round it to the 100th to make it easy. Now, they said that the problem said that the duck swam the remaining 10 kilometers. So we're going to first see the total we have, add these together. The duck has so far traveled 48.22 kilometers. And then if the duck swims the remaining 10 kilometers, the total distance traveled by the duck is 58.22 kilometers. Now, we overshot that a little bit because we realized that by doing that, we don't get back to the answer 56, which is what we were looking for. If 56 was the correct answer, then when we did everything that the problem said, we said that they flew 3/4 of the way, walked 1/9 of the way, and then swam the remaining 10 kilometers, we should have wound up exactly at 56. But we didn't, so we know 56 is not correct. Now here's the really cool thing. Not only can we cross out C as one of the possible answer choices before even needing to break out any confusing algebra of our own, We also know that A and B are probably not going to get correct either. Because when we added this 10, we overshot a little bit. We were trying to get to 56, but we went too far, meaning the starting distance was not long enough. So that means 36 and 45 are probably not going to be correct either. The starting distances are so small that if we take 3/4 of the way and then 1/9 and add 10, we're probably going to overshoot by even more. So we're looking at likely answer choices of D or E, 72 or 108. Here's another reason why the PITA method is really cool. Not only do we think that D or E is the correct answer, but I have a hunch that it's probably going to be D. The reason why is we were pretty close. 58.22 is pretty close to 56, meaning we were almost at the right answer. So the correct answer is probably going to be somewhere in the same ballpark. Look at this one. 108 is twice as much. That's probably going to be quite a bit off. But we're going to try both. Let's start with D. So we're going to try D, 72, and we're going to assume that the entire distance that the duck traveled was actually 72 kilometers. So now plugging it into the problem, we're going to say 3/4 of the way was flown by the duck. So that's 3/4 times 72. And I'm just going to do this quickly. Obviously, you'll be spending time to solve it during the test. That equals 54 kilometers. Next, we say 1/9 of the way was walked. And that equals 8 kilometers. Then we add these two together, and we get 62. And then the problem said that the duck swam the remaining 10 kilometers. We get 72. 72 is exactly what we said we would start off with. So we used the PITA method and found that when we took all the equations that the word problem had, plugged them in, we came up with the exact answer that we started looking out for. So while everybody else in the test is sitting there trying to make the perfect algebraic problem, you've already narrowed down in just 2 tries, plugging in 2 answers, found out what the correct answer was, which in this case is D. Alright, so now we're going to apply the PITA method to just a slightly more complicated problem. So let's check it out. Matt has 4 more hats than Aaron and half as many hats as Michael. If the 3 together have 24 hats, how many does Michael have? This is a perfect type of problem to use the PITA method on. Now technically you could solve it through algebra by giving different variables to each of the number of hats that they have and setting up equations and then isolating the variables. But that would take at least 2 to 3 minutes. And if you make a mistake, you have to go all the way back to the beginning and start over to find out where that was. By using the PITA method, not only can we start straight with the answers just to see which one is correct, we even know which answer to start with. As you remember, Middle East, biggest pita bread, we start with C. Now, we're going to assume, because the question said, how many hats does Michael have? We're going to look and say that maybe the correct answer choice is C, 12. If Michael has 12 hats, and Matt has half as many as Michael, then Matt has 6, and Aaron has 4 less than Matt, which means Aaron has 2. Now it says we add all of them up together and they should equal 24. So let's see what happens. 12 plus 6 plus 2, we get 20. Not quite enough. Now we got 2 really important pieces of information. 1, we know C is incorrect. But 2, just like with the last problem, we know which direction to go at this point. We know that we probably aren't going to want to go down because that's just going to make even a fewer final amount. But we want it to go up. So we're going to cross off A and B as unlikely answers. Now this is the cool thing too. We know that it's either D or E at this point, and again I have a hunch that's probably going to be D. The reason is because 20 is pretty close to 24. It's only 4 off, and here this is just a couple up as opposed to a 6 away. But we'll check both out. First let's try D. So if D is the correct answer, then that would mean Michael would have 14 hats, Matt would have half as many, which would be 7, and Aaron would have 4 less than Matt, which in this case would be 3. Now, let's add these up. 14 plus 7 plus 3, we get 24, which is the correct answer. A much quicker way of solving this than using algebraic equations, and we immediately know we have the right answer without needing to go back and double check. That's how you use PITA. Good luck.